Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another episode of Portugal Back to Back. You might recognize this lighthouse in the back. We're in the center of the country. We're in Nazaré. We're past Lisbon. We're past Ericeira, Peniche. Nazaré really sits in the middle of the country. North from here, we have Aveiro, Figueira da Foz, Porto, Viana do Castelo. I mean, this place here is the epicenter of big wave surfing. I mean, this is a real creation of God. You know, the way it sits geographically, you know, this headland with the lighthouse, the wave breaking right in front of it, the Nazaré Canyon amplifying the big waves, making them very consistent, the Nazaré port being at a close proximity, making it perfect for big wave surfers to have their logistics, it only being an hour and a half away from Lisbon airport, which is an international airport and also a capital city connecting all the cities in Europe, makes it a very special place. You know, that's why, you know, when you come here in big wave season, when the waves are on, you see thousands of people marching down this headland to see the big waves. You know, the media call it, you know, one of the biggest shows on earth, you know, watching the waves at such a close proximity. There's not many places in the world where you can do that, and Nazaré is very special for that. We're in prime big wave season right now. Our season usually goes from September, October, all the way to March, April. Every week we got huge wave. It's the most consistent place in the world. And it looks like we have some huge waves on the way. Let's go ride some giants. You. Of this place just doesn't cease to amaze me. You know, it's every time I'm out there, I feel like it's the first time. It feels like you're at the bottom of a mountain looking up, or at the bottom of a building looking up, but the building is coming into your direction. It's constantly wanting to eat you alive. It's quite a scary feeling, you know. I mean, the question I get a lot is, why is Nazaré so big? Why is Nazaré bigger than anywhere else in the world? And the answer is that Nazaré has an underwater canyon. Now, it's like a creation of God, the way the headland sticks out. And on the right, you have the waves breaking. You got peak 1, peak 2, peak 3. And on the left, you have the Nazaré Canyon, where the water is very deep. And what happens in this water canyon? You can really imagine it, you know, like an underwater Grand Canyon. So like a deep water trench that reaches up to 5 kilometers in depth and is 225 kilometers in length. And when these storms are creating, when they're spinning and they're creating waves and they're expanding throughout the Atlantic Ocean, once they start reaching the Portuguese coast, it enters the Nazaré Canyon, and all that energy converges into one direction. All that energy hits against a shallower part of the Nazaré Canyon and ends up lifting all that energy and height. That's how you get all these big, you know, waves standing up tall. You know, it really is. I mean, one in a kind. You don't have any place like in Nazaré that breaks as consistent, as big, as close to shore, which makes it the perfect amphitheater for people, for spectators to come watch. You know, that's why Times Magazine is calling it the biggest show on earth. That's why HBO is filming the 100-foot wave. And each year we got a huge influx of international media coming to Nazaré to document these waves. First time I came here was around 2004. I was 14 years old. I was just a passionate kid for big wave surfing. I mean, there was no such thing as being a professional big wave surfer at the time. I got invited by José Gregório and Paulo do Bairro, which was were like the leaders of big wave surfing in Portugal at the time, and they had invited some international big wave surfers, guys like Manoel Drolet, Ross Clark-Jones. Those guys were my idols, you know, so I was just sitting on the headland looking at the waves, this perfect, clean 100-foot day. I mean, it looked like some of the biggest waves I've ever seen. There was no one on the cliff. They ended up turning their back and leaving. At the time, I was very surprised, but looking back, you know, to 2004, it was the right move. You know, Nazaré was a wild beast. Safety equipment wasn't there yet. Jet skis weren't as strong as they are these days to tackle these waves. I think Garrett was the first one to really give it a proper dig on big days. He really took all his expertise in big wave surfing. You know, he was 40 years old at the time, had surfed some of the biggest waves in the world. And I think he came here around like 2009, 2010, built a team, got skis together, got the support from the municipality, and just, you know, opened the doors for all the big wave surfers in the world to kind of exploit these waves. We actually got the man himself, Hélio António, right here with us. Yeah. Legend. Photographer here from this area. You are born and raised here in Nazaré. Tell us, how did you get into photography, you know?
I started surfing around 95. I was just completely hooked. I just want to get barreled. Once I started watching these barrels from inside the water, I gotta go shoot this. So I was buying these disposable waterproof cameras, like 10 euros, 24 pictures, and it started like this, you know.
Tell me, for you, I mean, you've been surfing since 96?
95, yeah.
95, yeah. I mean, that's way before the Garretts, that's way before me. Yeah. Like, how do you see this transformation here in Nazaré? I mean, it must be incredible, right?
Man, it's insane. It's something that we never thought it would happen, because like North Beach on the big days, it was just forbidden, you know? We wouldn't go there. We would only go there when it was smaller waves in town, or even flat, and it was pumping on that side.
Did you guys know how big it was?
We had no idea how big it was, because there was nothing in the water, you know, like no reference. So it was impossible to determine how big it was. So we just knew it was huge, and we knew it was impossible to be ridden. And like 20 years later, here you guys are surfing those giants.
One question: What's your favorite photo? You've been here on every single session, from every single angle, from the top, from the bottom.
Yeah, I believe my favorite photo, it's one I took from beach level. Just this ridiculous A-frame that does this perfect triangle, and there's just a guy on his phone on the sand, so you get a notion of how big it is, and it's just a powerful picture. That angle is so special and so rewarding because it's hard to get a good photo because of all the white water, but if you manage to get that shot, it's just
incredible,
outrageous, you know.
Nazaré is obviously known for the big waves. There's thousands of people coming here each year to see the big waves, but Nazaré is so much more than the big waves. You know, this town is a very traditional town, great food, great people. It really lives up to Portuguese culture, and I mean, we want to go check it out, and there's no better person to show us around than you, Eli. So
yeah, let's go.
Take us on a tour.
Let's go.
Let's go check out Nazaré. Woo.
Praia da Nazaré, tão bela, tão invejada, ao pé de ti qualquer é a rainha esmerada, ao pé de ti qualquer é a rainha esmerada, ó vira que vira, vira, vamos então vamos além, vamos além, vamos além, vamos além.
Wow, look at this beauty. This is what Portugal is all about, you know. We're in the middle of winter, walking around in a t-shirt and great weather. I mean, Nazaré is incredible. Such a great variety of place, you know. It's obviously, this town was created on the waves, but it's so much more than the waves, you know. This beautiful town, the beautiful sceneries, the people, the food, the ladies with the 7 skirts symbolizing the 7 days of the week. I mean, it's so special to grow up in a place like this, you know. I grew up in Sintra, an hour and 20 minutes from Nazaré, and being so close by. There's people from all over the world traveling to Nazaré because this is the epicenter of big wave surfing these days, you know. It's quite emotional, you know. When I was growing up, it was all about the Hawaiis, all about the Australias, all about the United States, to learn little bits of pieces of big wave surfing. And the truth is that the world is here these days to learn little bits of pieces of big wave surfing. This is the proving grounds for any big wave surfer. If you want to be a big wave surfer, you got to come to Nazaré and prove yourself. It's the biggest, the most consistent, and also the most beautiful. This is it, guys. Another episode of Portugal back to back. We had Eli, one of the most renowned photographers, surf photographers from this area. He grew up here. He shared with us his experience growing up in this place. We had some huge waves. We also showed you that Nazaré is not only for big wave surfers, it also has its smaller, funner days, and it was a fun one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys in the next one. Let's go.